Well, hello, Bill.
Hey Don, how you doing?
Doing good this afternoon. Hope you are. Buster, how you doing today, man?
I am doing fantastic, although I'm worried that it looks like the rain's about to be coming back. The
Looks like we
clouds are
might
moving
get a
in.
little sprinkle.
I
At least
can't-
it's not so blazing hot.
It's been marvelous today.
Yeah, good.
So what's the crowd been like today up at the old Salty store? I've been seeing a lot of people coming in and out of here just in the past hour or two.
We've had a lot of people. A lot of South Carolinians today.
Oh, I saw a big
Uh,
group of them.
A lot of South Carolinians today, and Alabama started our day, but we had 2 or 3 families from Alabama. We've still continued to get folks from Alabama. But I'm always fascinated, as I say each week, where people are from. A lot of Floridians. Had Argentina. Had a marvelous couple from Argentina that spent some time with us today, and so it's been a busy day, but it's kind of slowed back down at the moment. I'm sure it'll pick up.
Now, when I got here about 2:30, 3 o'clock, I saw a group of lovely young Asian women that were in your orbit, Bill.
Right?
They seem to be hanging
They're-
on every word that you
They're
have
from
to say.
Singapore.
Oh,
Now they live here now in the area or in North Georgia, but they're originally from Singapore, and they were delightful young ladies, all probably, I don't know, 14 years old, and their mama was here with them, and she's very proud of her daughters, and we just had a real nice visit, and they were fascinated with the history of the store, and it's fun to have younger people get caught up in the history because they were not originally being from the States. They're hanging on everything right now, and so it was really a sweet time. They loved the cider, and went back and were having cheese last I saw them. So I haven't seen them since, but we had a great time visiting with them.
well, you mentioned history of the store, and I think for those that are listening, if you're a fan of history, this is going to be a great episode because not only are we going to be talking about trolls today, but we're also going to dive into a little bit of the Scandic roots of the old Salty store and how that relates to all the trolls. So I think today's going to be a good program.
And today we even had some educators come in that taught history.
Oh.
And so we had some great conversations about their knowledge of maybe not the store itself, but the knowledge of Georgia history. So it was really, really good morning.
Good deal.
Good day.
Well, we mentioned trolls. I don't know what y'all know about them, but I can remember as a child of the 90s growing up, it was a very popular toy called Troll Dolls, and they were little, I guess about 5-6 inch tall toys with hair just as tall in any color other than a normal hair color, and these were very popular toys, and I knew that we were going to be talking about them today on the show. And I did a little bit of research this past week, and apparently they're even older than the 90s or whatever. Apparently troll dolls have been something that's kind of been popular with kids going all the way back to the 60s. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is apparently this store has our own version of troll dolls. And perhaps I'm butchering that a little bit, but that's something that we have here now. And Don, Bill?
Well, I can confirm that the American version that you're talking about, that did come out in the 60s. I grew up in the 60s, and I had a big collection of trolls. And I had accessories that you could buy, little carry cases and things that you could put them in, and they were all different colors and whatnot, so you collected them.
Now, in the 60s, did your grandfather roll his eyes at your troll doll collection like mine did mine?
Probably. Yeah, I don't remember that, but I didn't care. I like trolls. I like those trolls. But that was a childhood thing. But the store history of trolls in the 1960s as well, the store came under the operation of a Norwegian couple who lived here in Georgia. They were a young couple, but they had their roots back in Norway and Scandinavia, and they bought the store and took over operating it. And they brought, all the products were Scandinavian. They were all imported by them. They would go over, buy the product, and bring it into the store, and it was a high-end Scandinavian gift shop, and so the trolls came in through that time frame, and at one time, I am told there were 249 trolls of all shapes and sizes that were scattered up through the store.
Now, in my research this week, I learned that what the store has, what the Old Saltese store has, is something called a kniform troll. And this was something that was created by August Tryggve Torgerson, and like you said, in the early 60s. And that's what the store has?
They
that
had
particular-
those for sale, but they had trolls for display only. They were made out of various things, paper mache and plaster and everything else. There is one remaining, and he lives under the steps. But the other 248, we don't know what happened to them. But we do have the kniform handcrafted. They're made out of natural materials. They're very, very hand done, and they're very unique. And we've got a new shipment in, and they're the same ones that the Freeds carried back in the 60s, or started carrying back in the 60s. But
they're beautifully made.
they really are. They're sort of various characters. Like if you're into motorcycles, there's trolls on motorcycles. If you're into fishing, there's trolls with a fishing pole or a whatever tennis racket, whatever you might.
We have a lot of guests coming in that have been here in years past that want to see the trolls. And now they're excited by the fact. Matter of fact, I think it was yesterday I had somebody that was pleased to know that the trolls were back.
Oh, man.
Now, we don't have them scattered all over the place, but and some of them I say about the one that hides, they have to find him, and so they have to wander around the store and find him. He's not too hard to find, but I say he's there somewhere. They remember the big tall one who's what 2 feet tall or 2.5 feet tall, whatever he is, and they have to go around and find him. It's always fun to see him search.
So the history of trolls in general is they did start in Norway, or what is now Norway, at the just south of the Arctic Sea. And at many thousands of years ago, there were glaciers there covering up what is now Norway. And as those glaciers melted and receded northward, the land became inhabitable, and a group of people followed that melt as it went north, and they became Norwegians and established the country of Norway, and thought that they were the first people to inhabit that land. What they didn't know is the trolls were already there. So the trolls had been there for thousands of years before that, apparently. And trolls are interesting little creatures.
What do they like to eat?
Well, I think they eat a lot of different things. I know well, first of all, do you know how many toes and fingers trolls have?
I'm all ears today.
They have on each hand, they have 4 toes and 4 fingers on each limb. And so I didn't know that, but I found that out in my homework assignment that you gave me last
I've known
week.
that for about, what, 10 seconds?
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Also, trolls can change shapes and appearances. So they were always playing tricks on people, and they would play tricks on the farmers. And the female trolls would transform into these beautiful young maidens and attract the farmers and the hunters that were out in the woods into the forest. Of course,
While the male trolls go steal all the
and
crops.
the male trolls would do kind of the same thing with the young ladies in town. But the way that you can identify a troll, they have a tail.
Oh.
They all have a tail, and it's much like a cow would have. So, you know, when you met a young lady that you thought you might be interested in, you had to make sure and look and see if she had a tail, because it was a troll in disguise. But they
Any
were
excuse to get a look at that butt.
well, but they would be friendly if you treated them well, and they would be temperamental if you didn't. And so farmers would leave porridge in the barn, and they would eat that, and then they would help the crops do well if they were enticed to with the porridge. They all have long noses, and the female trolls that did the cooking, they used those noses to stir the pots. Found that out today, or this week rather. But the chief of the troll clan, let's see if I can say it correctly. Dovraguben was his name. Now, don't ask me to repeat that, but that was his name, and he
Just
was.
spell that for me, please.
It's Dovregubben.
Okay.
Dovraguben.
Now, what's the chief of the trolls do? What's his job responsibilities?
I guess the same thing our chiefs do. Just be the chief.
Just stand
That's all
around,
you have to do.
be out front and center whenever a camera's around.
But that's the history of the trolls, our troll history, and then they came to the Old Salty store in the 60s from Astrid and Mervyn Freed when they were here, and we're reintroducing the trolls and learning about them as we do. But they are really cool little creatures.
Well, I had an opportunity to look at them in the shop room or whatever, and when I was looking at them behind the glass, very fine craftsmanship, and they look like they're carved out of wood. But then I had an opportunity to take one out of the glass, and it felt like some sort of a latex. And
Yes.
you were saying that's a
It's
naturally
natural
occurring.
materials, and I don't know the chemical formula, but it is a natural material that they use, so it's not wood.
Now, do you have any personally at home? Is your troll
I have
fascination
the
from
two demo
childhood?
trolls over there on the speaker in the corner.
I've seen a couple of people coming around taking a look at them,
Yep.
taking a few pictures.
Actually, a customer brought those up about 3 weeks ago, and I think we have the identical ones in there for sale now. But these are the store.
Do all of them have
mascot.
wild hair?
Yeah, they all have rough coats, and they're all shaggy.
Now, where does that? I'm assuming a dog or something. Where do they get the hair from? We know how the body.
Oh, these, yes. Our producer just reminded me. The hair used on these particular dolls is reindeer hair, real reindeer hair.
Wow.
Wow. That explains the jingle bells we've been hearing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm over here. I'm picking one up now. Don mentioned they've got long noses. You could certainly stir a pot of stew with one of these noses. This guy, he's a troll after your own heart, Don. He's sitting there playing the guitar, just waiting for you to sit down with the
He looks a
dobro.
lot like Keith Richards to me. I
Yeah.
don't know
Skinny like him, isn't he?
if you see that.
Looks like death like him. Yeah. Coming to Atlanta this fall, Troll Richards. And there's another one over here. Got a little bit bigger of a head of hair. Nose doesn't stick out quite as far, but I guess this is Brian Jones on the guitar.
Mhm.
But yeah, these things are, for me in particular, they're kind of nightmarish. But that being said, the craftsmanship and the level of detail that goes into them is amazing. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is the only place in White County to see them, up here at the Old Salty store. Oh.
Well, there you have it. The A to Z troll history, Bill.
I mean, I didn't know anything about this stuff. I remember there seems like there's some old fairy tales with trolls under the bridge, and
Living
I forgot
under the
which
bridge.
one. There's one of the main
Billy
ones.
Goat.
Billy Goat Gruff, yeah. Yeah.
Billy Goat Scrub.
Yeah, so I don't remember all the details of that, but they're beautiful and ugly at the same time. I think that's the way to look at it. I think years ago I dated a girl look like that. I'm not real sure, but
Does she have a tail?
I don't look that far. Didn't date that long. We better move on. Have my head.
Yeah, moving right along.
Well,
Yep.
the Olympics kicked off this week.
We did.
Anybody watch the opening ceremonies?
I have not. All I have is read a little bit in the paper. But
I just saw the last few measures of Celine Dion's song, and I hadn't heard her sing in a long time. As much sick as she's been, I didn't think she was gonna be able to sing, but she nailed it, man.
I didn't know she was sick.
Yeah. Oh, she's been real sick. Yeah.
What's wrong with her?
I don't know. I really don't. She's been ill for a long time and extremely thin, but she's still a lovely lady. I don't. Where's she from?
Canada.
yes,
Canadian? Well, she sang that closing song. Did you watch the opening ceremonies?
I missed the opening ceremony. From what I've read, they didn't do it in the stadium like they typically do it. They did it on what is the name of that river that flows through Paris?
The Rhine, I believe.
I think so, but that's where they did the opening ceremony. And apparently they had a good crowd, 400, 500,000 people all lined up along that river. And they did the opening ceremony on boats. But I don't know. I don't think I'll be paying too close attention to it outside of basketball. But while we're talking about Olympics, crazy thing, 28 years ago, Atlanta hosted the Olympics. And were any of y'all, Don, Bill, did y'all have any involvement to that? Bill, did you go down there and sing for it?
I was there when they made the announcement. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I was there live. There were groups all over the city grouped together, and I was downtown. And of course, everybody's very excited about it. I was working downtown at the time, and there was energy all over the place, and some with fear and trepidation, and some very excited. Of course, it transformed what is now the Olympic Park area. They had tore down lots of old buildings to create the park. I've got several bricks in that Olympic Park down there. I think it seemed like the kids bought us one and we bought them one. I've forgotten what it was, but anyway, we've got our names are down there on the in a brick somewhere down in Olympic Park. But it was fascinating, and I sang for something. It's terrible for me not to remember, but I've slept 2 or 3 times since then. But I sang for something at the Capitol related to the Olympics.
Oh.
And I remember singing. I was at the foot of the stairs, and I had all these people. I was in the rotunda there, people standing around, and I'm sure I did God Bless USA. That's usually what I was singing everywhere down there. I did a lot with some with the Chamber of Commerce and some with the another Atlanta Business Association. I can't think of the name of it either. But I did a lot with the Braves back then too, so it could have been related to the Braves. I just don't remember. But it was an exciting time in the city. I've still got the newspaper the next morning, and I've still got my. Matter of fact, I was going to wear it on 4th of July. I've got a red, white, and blue 96 Olympic shirt, polo type shirt, but the white on it has turned almost yellow, and it really looks dirty and tacky, so I didn't put it on. But I'm not going to throw it away. I'll let my kids throw it away when I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of a treasure to me. But I've got the newspaper, but and I've enjoyed following Olympics occasionally through the years, but I've never been consumed with it as other folks are. And I applaud them if they are. It's fine, but it's just not been my thing.
We were actually there the night of the bombing,
Really?
and we actually sat in front of the bench that the bomb was under.
Wow.
And we, of course, we didn't know that at the time. We actually went down to Gainesville, where the rowing event was,
Mm-hmm.
and then went on down to Atlanta, and there was a basketball game, and it was an African country and maybe Korea, and it was such a mismatch. It was a landslide victory for the taller fellas. But anyway, we kind of left that early because it had gotten to be such a runaway game. But we meandered around Centennial Park there in or Olympic Park, and got dark, and we sat down and rested a few minutes at the spot that the bomb was at. And we decided to go home, and we left. I think we stopped and had dinner there, maybe the Hard Rock Cafe, which was just not too far from there. We did that, and then drove home. And I remember sitting down in my chair and turning on the TV before I went to bed, and the big news flash was there
Wow.
in the bomb. And we could have, but for a few hours, we could have been right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of made you.
It's kind of one of those
Yeah.
moments where you count your
That's
blessings.
exactly
In other words,
right.
that's not one of those things you'll forget like me.
No, I guess that sort of put a little bit of a shadow on my whole
Wow.
Olympic interest. But
I wish my Olympic memories were as nice as y'all's. I just remember whatever that mascot was for the 96 Olympics, because I felt like I saw a whole bunch of T-shirts in first grade that year that had the Olympic rings and whatever that goofy-looking blue mascot that
I
was
remember
holding
something
up.
being good. I don't even remember what that was, but I remember it being a big controversy because it was so odd.
Yes.
before we go, I'll do a fact check. I think the river through Paris may be the Seine.
Sane.
Well, folks, this is the only podcast in town where if we make a mistake, we're going to try our darndest to correct it by the end of the episode.
Well, they can't cut our pay.
Can't cut what doesn't exist. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another great week. Thanks for tuning in to the Front Porch Podcast, recorded live every Saturday here at the Old Salty Store in Salty, Nacoochee, Georgia. I'm Buster Talent for Don and Bill. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Have
Okay.
a great week.
I know. Today we had a couple of ladies drop by, one from Florida, actually both of them originally from Florida, that are visiting with us today, and they are going to share a little bit about some very interesting things as educators.
And you brought some guests with you today.
Yes, and they're going to introduce themselves because I don't remember their names, even if they told me. But I told them I was going to tell them that tell everybody that they begged me so they could be on our podcast today, but that really wasn't quite the case.
It was the other way around.
I think it was the other way around. Yeah. I said, what, me? Okay. Well, all right, ladies. Both school teachers. One's a semi-retired teacher, but the other one's still at it. So let's start with semi-retired. Tell us what you're doing.
All right, my name is Carolina Simon, and I am now the founding executive director of Zachor Shoah, a Holocaust and human rights nonprofit here in Georgia for training teachers and community members, particularly throughout Appalachia, on Holocaust history.
That's amazing. I was in the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem this last year. Twice I've been there this year. Yeah,
I haven't been yet.
that's
a very
amazing
nice
place,
building.
Yeah. And what's the name of your company again?
Zachor Shoah.
Zachor Shoah.
Yeah.
And it's located where?
It's in Marietta, Georgia. It's not a brick and mortar. It's just
Right,
online. But I am physically in Georgia
I see.
and have program will travel.
Wonderful. Now, our active school teacher, and you're from, and tell us about you.
Well, my name is Mandy Corbett, and I am a native Floridian, and I teach in Delray Beach. Actually, I live in Delray Beach, and I teach in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm an active 7th grade, gifted and advanced, and gen ed ELA teacher. That's what I do.
And you're also a musician.
Yes, I am a musician. I play a few different instruments. Piano and saxophone are the two that I play the most, but all types of instruments, and I like all types of music.
And where do you play when you get a chance to play?
Well, that's the interesting part. I haven't played in a while, but I do need to go back to playing.
You know, every church in Florida wants you.
That's where I started playing. Was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
church
sure,
first?
sure,
Was it
sure.
church first?
Yeah.
But no, I do need to start playing again.
Yeah,
I miss it.
keep your armature tight. And that's really important. When we lay our instruments aside, sometimes that's what goes. We remember the fingerings, but that armature is a big thing.
Yeah, that is very true.
I know how to squeak a saxophone. You play saxophone, didn't you?
I do. Did.
Yeah, did.
been a long
You all
time
do?
ago.
Yeah. E flat? Or you play baritone saxophone?
No, alto and tenor.
Alto and tenor. Keep it on the top end. That's cool. That's good. Mid range. That's great. That's great.
I was going to ask, is this your first time here at the store?
Yeah, on this side of Georgia, it is the first time. I came to visit Carolina because I needed a break, and she's like, "Let's go here." I'm like, "Okay." So that's how I ended up in Georgia, and yeah, school's getting ready to start. So
Where'd y'all get to know each other?
we work together.
Oh, I see.
For years, like 5-6 years, we taught together in the
Yeah.
same
In
English
Florida, in
department.
Florida.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, when school start?
Here's the funny thing: I have to report back to school on August the 1st, and school starts on August the 12th.
One of our counties here in Georgia started yesterday. And then, yeah.
So early.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Early.
yeah.
That's very,
That's
very,
very
early.
early.
Well, back in the olden days, we didn't do it that way, you know.
No, we started school the end of August.
Yeah, we always started after Labor Day.
Right, after Labor Day, right.
Yeah, yeah. But, well, that's good. Now, where are you headed today? What's your plan for the weekend?
We were going to head up, look at Helen, Bavaria themed town there.
Now, what are your impressions of this area? If this is the first time being up here?
Well, I grew up in the country, so this was normal for me, and it's pretty. It is very, very pretty. It's quiet. It's calm. It's peaceful. It's the break that I needed before the chaos is getting ready to start. I do like it here, and Carolina's trying to convince me to move.
Well, it's a great place. When I moved up here, I wasn't going to stay either. I rented a house, but now we built one. So we're here till Lord takes us to the next place, you know. So that's kind of our plan now. So, well, that's bless your heart. Well, that's cool. And so you got to head back then. What you flying?
Yeah, I flew. I leave tomorrow night at 8:15.
Yeah, and you're flying out of Atlanta.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
No, it's not. It's not. I forgot how much that airport is not fun.
It's better than last week.
Oh yeah, last week was even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not country down there.
Nope.
But though on the other perspective, you got every country there.
Yes. Yes. It was busy, and there were people in the way.
Yeah,
I need you guys to move.
But you kept a sweet spirit through the whole time. I'm sure.
I was listening to my book, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'll just go around them.
So you start class, you say, on the
August the 12th.
August 12th. So
My
you
first class.
got a few days to get your room together and all this sort of thing. Are you in one room, or you move around?
No, I have my own classroom. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And I have, I need to clean it because I didn't clean it at the end of the last school year. Just threw everything in a box.
You got a lot of students.
Average last year was 32 per class. The average this year is 24.
Oh,
that's
wow,
good.
that's a nice move. Yeah.
So I'm excited about that one. Not as many kids.
Now, how does your program manifest itself? How's it?
So I wrote a textbook
Uh-huh.
after all my years of teaching. I wrote a textbook for grades 6 through 12 on comprehensive Holocaust and human rights history. So it doesn't focus just on the 12 years of the Holocaust. It focuses on all the many years prior, going back to like 1492, that led us onto this road of both either doing really great things like writing the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and really bad things like slavery, and how those two choices continuously throughout history have brought us to greatness of our humanity, and also the worst in our humanity, which was Auschwitz. And Mandy's on my board for my nonprofit, and I train teachers on how to use the textbook. I'm working on elevating Georgia state standards for Holocaust education in grades 5 through 12, and just also just general elevation of information for the general public. It's not
Now,
just
are you
teachers.
Jewish yourself?
I am.
I mentioned a minute ago, we had a Jewish cantor on here. Matter of fact, when you go back and look at the podcast, was it 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago, we had a lovely lady. She was a trip. I mean, she was one amazing
I'll have to
lady.
look that up. Yeah.
I mean, she was a trip, but she was a lot of fun, and had a big voice. She and I sang out on the.
Oh, very well.
On the, we didn't sing on the podcast, did we? And
She did.
She did. She and I sang some stuff out on the front porch, and she knew all the Broadway shows, and she knew all
sure.
that kind of stuff, you know. And she was going to be going to rabbinical school at one point.
Okay.
Anyway, but it'll be interesting. You'll enjoy listening
Yeah.
to it. That's
Really
fabulous.
cool.
That is
I'll have to
very
find
cool.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, ladies, we really appreciate you coming by this afternoon, and hope you'll come back again when you're up here decompressing.
Absolutely, this
and
is
you
cool.
and you can
Absolutely.
visit us all the time because you're.
I
just
know.
down
I'm
the
just
road.
a hop, skip, and a jump away.
That's
I'm definitely going to be
exactly
coming by.
Come back. God bless y'all. Thank you for
Thank
being with
you.
us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.